Hey guys, we are back here with another episode of Occasions and Purpose. But I have my very special, my twin, my awesome Dodger loving, Marvel movie watching, J-Lo inspired friend Josh Lopez over here. Josh Lopez, right?
Exactly.
I'm over Josh Lopez, bro. We love Josh Lopez.
Thank you.
The most likable person in the entire world.
Thank you so much.
Real.
Thank you. Means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
So what this is, I like to find people that I like, people that are in my life in some degree, and basically just give them a little spotlight, show them how special they are, and let them allow you guys to pick their brain. Josh is one of those people who has his hand in multiple baskets, and I feel like he has something good to say, and something that we can all learn from. So just real quick, Josh, introduce yourself. Who is Josh Lopez?
People that don't know me, my name is Josh Lopez. My legal name is actually Josue, but like going by Josh. What I do is pretty much I'm a full-time student. I work part-time. I'm a big passionate for bartending. I really love working that craft. And besides that, I'm a big sport fanatic, like how Josh just mentioned it, a few seconds ago.
Happy his Dodgers won the World Series.
Exactly.
Y'all were playing games.
Exactly. And then, I'm flattered that Josh invited me on his show, and we're ready to rock and roll.
I love it, bro. So I guess most people want to know how, because, okay, let's be honest, bro. It's 2021, but 2020 was a rough year. I mean, for a lot of people, at least for me it was. Well, for me it was actually pretty decent, but still, it was still rough, the fact that we had to go through a lot of these things.
Exactly.
How did you deal with 2020 as a whole? What did you do?
Well, a lot of people are gonna claim that 2020 was a rough and bad year, and I totally get that. It's understandable with the pandemic, with the economy going down, with people losing their jobs, people losing their businesses. As for me, 2020 was a very interesting year. There was a lot of great things, and there was a lot of setbacks as well. A few great things that I did was I was able to go on many trips. I was able to get my dream car. I was able to get a 2020 Toyota Camry XSE with some red seats.
Okay, so how did you do all this? Like, what did you do something different? Was it what about you? 'Cause some people couldn't even get anything in 2020. So I don't see how.
How I did it, just hustle pretty much. Once March hit, everyone lost their jobs. But what I kept on doing, I kept grinding it. I kept applying to locations because I love working. And I was fortunate enough to work at Costco. Something so grateful about 2020. I still miss a job to this day. So that's how I was able to accomplish all those things. And besides that, I tried new food. I was able to visit one of the biggest national parks in the world, Yosemite National Park, with my family. Wow. So I'm really grateful for that. And one great thing about 2020 as well, at the end of 2020, I was able to get back to my running form. So
you're a runner?
Yeah, I'm a runner.
We didn't go into that. Okay.
Exactly. And then with the running part, I haven't been consistent with my training since 2016. So people that don't know, I used to run cross country and I used to run marathons as well. But what I'm very grateful and happy about 2020 is that I was able to finally get back to my training, because it's a lot of hard work, to be honest. It's a lot of hard work and determination.
How do you become so consistent though? So when you get into something, what are some good traits that you picked up along the way that keeps you from? Because I see you run like 50 miles a day. I'm just like, how does this man do it? And so how do you get to that kind of level of enthusiasm?
Like I've always had since high school, actually as far as middle school, just that determination and that dedication to the sport and for anything. And everything I do in life, I go in with determination and dedication. And you just got to stay consistent with your training, and that applies with everything. You got to be consistent in life. And what I see when I vision myself as a runner, I see the future, because I still have goals. Few of my running goals is to finally run the Boston Marathon. I already qualified once back, as a 17-year-old back in high school as a junior, and that was one of my, so till this day is one of my biggest accomplishments, ever. And with running does come a lot of setbacks and obstacles. Like currently right now, I've been consistent with my training, but recently I I encountered an injury. And it's hard. It's hard to.
A little setback.
It's a little setback. But what I'm doing different this year than I did a few years ago, because back in the day I would always get injured, but I would listen to my body. I would keep going, and eventually it got worse. But now I'm training smarter, and now you gotta listen to your body. Your body's telling you no, you can't run, so you just gotta keep moving forward. But you gotta rest the leg and then do all the precautions.
So let me ask you this then: what is running to you?
Running to me it's honestly more than running. It's like,
wow.
I feel like it's like the strength of me, because even with running this past month and a half, it has like put a self-confidence in me. Like I've always had it, but just running just kind of like woke me up and kind of like show me the path. It's like, hey, you know what? Running is going to keep me up high. And like with 2020, of course, I faced some obstacles as well, some setbacks.
Yeah.
But I've realized to be positive, to be grateful, with all the things around you, and to keep moving forward and to have faith. And honestly, when you have those setbacks, you have you have your great family, of course, and then you're gonna have
a support system.
Exactly, and you're gonna have great friends who support you no matter what. You're gonna realize who's there for you and who's not there for you. You'd be surprised who's there for you. Like, for example, Josh, you've helped me in the past, and I was honestly surprised, not based by your character, but based by how much you cared. Yeah. And for that, I'm always gonna be grateful and blessed.
Of course, bro.
Thank you so much. And then I will, if for anything else, I know you're in my corner, and I'll be always grateful for that.
Always and forever will be blessed. So let's move on. So, a good man like you, I'm sure you have some awesome career goals ahead of you. I'm sure you have some aspirations you want to do. I know you're big into business, but what do you want to do with your life?
That's a good question. Well, eventually I want to create a big business, a big business as big as Tesla, as big as Disney, and as big as Amazon. And I'm not doing it for the fame. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing it for my net worth. I'm doing it because I really care about impacting the world in a positive way. Like Steve Jobs said it once, I want to make my work a difference. And that's what I want to do. I want to impact, a lot of people's lives. For example, like I feel like businesses, like people who see businesses, they take them for granted. For example, Apple is one of the biggest business, ever in history. And for example, like this iPhone, Josh, you have your iPhone, this Apple Watch, people take things for granted. People, not saying like in a negative way, but I guarantee you, the designers back in Apple, Tim Cook, Steve Jobs, when they see these products, they're proud of their products. They're the ones who designed it. And that's what I like to see, and I like to see in the business eye, because at the end of the day, they all care about impacting people in a good way, and then it brings smiles to people's faces.
Yeah, it brings them joy, happiness.
Exactly, really. And then with the platform I want to create, I want to, of course, once again, impact a lot of people in a positive way. But one of my other goals I want to do is I want to start a foundation where I don't think has ever been done before, but a foundation that focuses a lot on immigration reform. That's something that really touches home, because I've dealt with that in my family. Wow. But with this foundation, what I want to do, I would want to push for citizenship, for residency, especially for DACA recipients.
So I want to go into this. It's actually a very good topic. It's funny because when I moved, I'm from Alabama, as you know, and when I moved to California, I was very surprised to see, a lot of people who may be Hispanic, Salvadorian, Mexican, whatever, and a lot of people aren't really, they're pressured, and they want reform in immigration, but, it hasn't been a lot of movement recently in the past 4 years. And, and why do you feel now is a time of change? Why do you feel like you want to step into this? Like what was going on in politics that really made you upset with immigration? Do you really think we can see improvement? Do you really think you can see more, especially, undocumented citizens in this country become, American? Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible, but I think you just need more than politics, because I know the Obama administration tried to give citizenship. Joe Biden recently just released his immigration reform plan, and it's what I want to do. But what sucks about this country is that you have two parties that are very undivided. In order for Joe Biden to get that successful, he's gonna need 17 Republican senators to vote on that bill, and most likely that won't happen. But that's why in the future, if we still have this problem, that's when I come in. I don't care how much money it's gonna take. If I have the money, I'm going to get many DACA recipients papers and many immigrants who's been in this country for over like 30 years, who have contributed to the American economy, who's paid taxes, who've worked hard. They deserve to stay in this country. They came here for a better life. One thing I do want to compare to it is like, okay, Josh, I love baseball and all. So in baseball, there's a lot of Dominicans, Cubans, and Puerto Ricans, and they're not from this country. But when they come to the States, they automatically get their papers, or not automatically, but they get them real quick. Like, no offense, not trying to talk negative about them, like, good for them, but why is it that someone who plays a sport gets their papers quick, but a kid who wants to come to this country and go to Harvard, go to Stanford, can't get the same opportunity? So they deserve it as well, because they're here for a better life, just like those baseball players.
Wow. So and this is a personal question for me, asking you, if you don't mind me taking a few seconds to ask this question.
Go for it.
I met a lot of people who seem to take no pride in where they come from. And this is in LA speaking. I'm thinking, you come from, Cuba, Guatemala, you come from, Honduras, whatever you come from. And a lot of people kind of neglect their culture. They kind of are ashamed, and they want to kind of throw away that old, idea and say, oh no, I'm American now. And with that, if I'm a citizen, a lot of people our age I'm talking about. Exactly. If I'm a citizen, then why should I care? Or, if my parents did the right way, why do we have to give handouts to people who didn't? How have you seen people think like that?
No, I have, especially.
To me, it's shocking to see that. I was like, you would think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You see that a lot on the Republican side, sadly, and I just think that's ignorant. Like, they're out here having a better life. They're already here in this country. Why don't we just give them the permanent stay? And plus, it would help out the American economy. It would help out in politics, more voter turnout. So people are just seeing the cons, but there's a lot of pros into it as well. And I've also heard about, like, they're here to take away our jobs, this and that. Well, if they're more qualified, why aren't you more qualified than them? It's a competition. You can't. Yeah, okay. Just because they're from a different country doesn't mean they can't
come after your position.
Exactly, yeah.
In fact, that should encourage you or challenge you to do something more or learn more to be competitive, and that's anybody.
Yeah, and it shouldn't just be against, like, people who are not from this country. You got to be competitive with everyone, even people that been living here. So
these kind of ideas, to me, seem like they're not something that are inherited in a person. They're kind of taught by somebody. Did you ever have any strong mentorships? Like, what kind of led you onto this path that you're on now? Was there anybody that you looked up to?
Yep, my mom. Wow. She came to this country like in the early 1990s without anything. She's wanted a better life for herself and for my brother and I. And she came into this country illegally, and then since then she's been working hard. She's been working hard in an office, grinding it out, paying taxes. And then in 2009, I believe, 2010, she got a notice of deportation. Wow. So she, that was a wake up call. She was like, oh, I gotta step up and get my papers, or else my brother and I wouldn't be here right now. Yeah. So she did that. It was a long process. My brother and I, we were very young. Like, the first lawyer she had, they told her, like, hey, you're gonna get deported because your kids are young, quote unquote young. My brother and I were probably like 9 or 10 years old. But then, like, a few years later, the lawyer told my mom, hey, you know what? Our best shot is to delay the court case. So when your sons are older, you'll be able to you have a higher chance in staying in this country. So we did that exactly. And then during that time, my brother and I were in academics and sports. My brother was getting tutoring. I was running the marathon. Yeah. And then thankfully, I can't remember exact what year. I think it was year 2011. My mom, she was granted her papers, and that's actually her second proudest moment in her life. The other proudest moment of her life, which is kind of connects with this, when Donald Trump ran for office and he won the presidency, my mom was determined in 5 years I'm going to become, because after you get your papers, you have to wait 5 years to become a U.S. citizen.
Wow. Okay.
And then she was like, in 5 years, I'm going to become a U.S. citizen. And I'm going to vote out, Donald Trump. And exactly that's what she did. Last year, for her first ever general election, she voted for Joseph R. Biden for president of the United States. And on November 7th, Joe Biden beat Donald Trump. And then that's part of, and then my mom was one of those 82 million voters who voted for, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. That is an amazing story.
So that's why I really, that hits home. I really want to help out my people because, I care about them a lot. My mom who's very hardworking, deserves to stay in the country. So I know there's a lot of people just like my mom who are struggling, who don't have these papers, who are scared that they're going to get deported. Thankfully, we have a new president now, not a president who was very anti-immigration reform. So that's what I want to do in the future, and I know I will.
Yeah. I remember I was talking to one of our coworkers, and I remember he was telling me his story. It's always gets me emotional thinking of his story. Mm-hmm. He says how he uses his he uses his paycheck and he sends that money back to Mexico. Oh wow! That's where his mom and his little brothers and his family lives there, and that's what he does. And I remember he told me, and I said, "Do you not have faith in that? Immigration can change. Do you not have faith?" And he says, like, I don't believe it. Like I don't have hope because it's just so hard to get into this country, and people do so much to just try to have an ounce of what we have. Exactly. We take it for granted. I know I took it for granted. And I came here, I woke up. I stay woke. Yeah. And so when I think of his story, I have to ask you about. I know we just had our. I'll say this: the administration just came. A new administration just came in with Joe Biden, and I want to know your opinion, but I also want you to tell us what was through your head when Washington D.C. was raided by extreme nationalists, conservatives, of all races. What was going through your head that day?
A lot of things were going through my head. Honestly, it was not surprised, to be honest. Trump, since 2016, he's ran a campaign that has been, very violent, very narcissist, and very, very dangerous. And if you realize when those like rioters went to Capitol Hill, they were not waving USA flags. They're waving Donald Trump flags. They're waving Confederate flags. Yeah, they're waving Blue Lives Matter flags, and they're not here for this country. They're here for Donald Trump. They're here. That sounds a lot like a dictator. You see that in other countries where they're waving flags for one person, not for the United States, but for one person. And honestly, Trump had the power. He had the power to not recite the riot. He could have stopped the riot as well. And what kind of pains me is that there was no police there. When you see back in the summer of last year of 2020, all these Black Lives Matter protests was going on. Boom! Automatically, the police was like right there, like nothing. Like they were already, waiting for that moment to happen. But when you see what was going on in Capitol Hill, where was the police? Like 5 hours later when everyone was already gone.
Exactly. I always think of that image of that one police officer who was the only one holding down that door to keep those rioters from coming into the Congress building, and he's literally running from his life, for his life. I mean, he's trying to push people away, and it just shows the duality of America, right? And you brought up Blue Lives real quick, and I want to just make a quick comment for me. When I think of the Blue Lives Matter movement, which I have no real issue, but when I see things like what happened that day, I don't see it as you're fighting for police officers when you're the ones they were beating police officers, just as bad. Exactly. And to me, it was just it's a combat for Black Lives Matter. It's just a tool you're using to combat to justify that movement. And so it's just interesting. It's just the duality in that, and how I think a lot of African Americans are torn because we are police officers. We are Americans. We do have some conservative ideas. Not all of our ideas are all liberal. you know, but we most of us are liberal, but we still try to make justified decisions, you know, and the fact that, you know, to see that it really does plague us. But anyway, moving on. You know, again, Joe Biden, the administration, how's he doing? What do you think? Are you optimistic? What do you think's gonna happen next?
Yeah, I'm definitely optimistic. He's already handling the virus so much better than Trump. He ordered 200 million vaccines, you know, for by the end of the summer, where he says that every person could be vaccinated by the end of the summer. I'm like, wow, like if Trump was in office, that wouldn't have happened. We joined the Paris Accords. He rejoined the Paris Accord. He stopped the construction of the wall. You know, on day one, Joe Biden came in and wrote 17 executive orders. And once again, with the immigration policy, that's something big on me. He wants to give citizenship to all 11 million DACA recipients. To
limit some of the power that ICE held while Trump was in office. I saw that too.
Exactly. So I'm very optimistic what he's going to do. I feel like he's going to really restore the soul of this country, and that's been his motto since like day one, since he announced for presidency in Philadelphia in 2018. So I'm really excited what he has in store. We finally have a president that we could trust. The president that we could listen, a president that won't lie, a president that will tell you if he doesn't know the answer, that he will tell you he doesn't know the answer. He's not like Trump, who would always say that, oh, I know the answer, but he would never say it. Trump never wanted to be wrong. You know, there's nothing wrong on being wrong. You know, you're the leader of this country. You know, you're the commander in chief. Yeah. You know, Donald Trump had access to all the nuclear codes. I guarantee you, all the military, you know, the Congress, they were afraid that one day Trump would have, you know, activate one of those nuclear codes and attack a country, and then we start another war. Yeah. You know, with Joe Biden, we trust in him, and you know, I know he's gonna do a great job, and not just him, his vice president Kamala Harris is gonna do a great job as well. I think so. And thankfully now the Senate the majority is Democrats, so now Joe Biden will be able to pass a lot of policies he wants to do. Because unfortunately, when he was Obama's vice president, they had a Republican Congress, which they weren't able to pass a lot of things.
McConnell was, you know, predominant, you know, controlled the Senate. It was hard.
Exactly, yeah.
Really impossible.
And another thing that Donald Trump really made an error when he was the president. Yeah. He kept, when the coronavirus was happening, he kept focusing on the economy. He kept focusing on the stock market. He was like, the economy's going to go down. I got to rise it up. It's like, no, the American people's health comes first. And if you were to focus on the pandemic, everything else is going to fall into place. You know, you focus on people's health first, and then the economy's going to rise up again. Then businesses are going to open up again. Then, you know, everything's going to go back to normal.
So, speaking on politics, not politics, but the stock market specifically, you know, a lot of things are changing. A lot of millennials, a lot of our generation, we're coming up, and we just recently, just literally a few days ago, we've been seeing a lot of news about GameStop, a lot of news about, you know, AMC, our company. Yeah. We've been seeing a lot of, you know, people are investing. And as a businessman, you said you want to run a multi-conglomerate corporation. You want to build something from scratch and make it yours. Exactly. What is some advice you would give somebody going into the stock market and the economy? What kind of ideas do you have in that brain? I'm actually pretty excited and happy to see a lot of people investing in the stock market. Yeah. Because I remember back then I was into the stock market since like high school. I remember it was only me and my friend. You know, we would be the only individuals talking about the stock market. Maybe because now we're older. Maybe now people are more into it. But I really like it because that's where people should put their money in. I see the stock market as like a savings account. You know, I'm investing a lot of money in there, so in the future I have, you know, another source of income as well. So I would advise people, if you have money to spare, to invest in the stock market, but only if you have money to spare. Don't depend it as your income. You know, you gotta, you know, that's not very dependable because the stock market goes up and down. But I'm very excited what you know, so many individuals and young individuals who are investing into the stock market, because that's great. You know, instead of, you know, going out or buying those shoes that you don't need or buying that, I don't know. I know I can testify to that. Yeah. I would buy some shoes, dude. I mean, like it was nothing. Whole paycheck gone. But yeah, see, that's why
with the stock market, definitely invest in the stock market.
So where do I start? Just a quick, because a lot of people always say, who do I invest, Josh? Who do I need to throw my money into? And people get very upset when you tell them to invest in something or you give them hints, and they get they get mad because you told me to do this. Josh.
Yeah. Well, the people also need to learn. You gotta be patient. You're not gonna you're not gonna make money right away.
Yeah.
You have to be patient. I remember back then, once again in high school, I wish I had the money. Back then, I remember Tesla stock was like $70-$60. You look at now, it's like $800. So it takes time. It takes time for these things to happen. A few stocks that I would recommend people to invest in electric car companies, and not just Tesla. We have other companies that are coming up. Even Ford is making their electric cars now.
Exactly.
Also, I would invest in solar panel companies. They're coming up as well. And then Joe Biden is going to push for environmental policies. So invest in like clean water energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the future. That's where we want to end up in. So if you want a future for yourself as well, invest in those stocks. And my advice is to keep them and just sell them when you're ready to retire. So you have money for yourself and maybe also for your
like for me, I went into Virgin Galactic. I love anything in space. I do a lot of. I hope to have a few programs and and applying internships with NASA. So I'm very big in space.
Okay.
Another company I have going into is let's see, what's the other one I got? I can't think of the other one. What's it called? But just a few tech companies. That was the whole gist.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Just do your research. I always tell people do your research. Keep read about where you're interested in. If you like batteries, invest in lithium batteries or something. If you like GameStop, invest in GameStop.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel comfortable with. But the economy right now is in a very interesting state. And a lot of people didn't like Trump and talking about the economy, but a lot of Republicans are very against socialism and any type of socialist ideas. But as you see with the stock market, people are eager to get their piece of the pie. A lot of people like ourselves who come from humble beginnings never have any insight or never have any ability to attain a serious amount of equity or wealth. And so now you're seeing this transfer of power. You're seeing people get more money than they ever have. Some people make more money on unemployment than they do working. How do you feel what our government is doing? Is it right? Is it wrong? With you're seeing Joe Biden pushing for was it $2,000 stimulus checks. You're seeing him make sure families have support all the way through this pandemic. Do you agree with some of these socialist ideas? Do you feel like it's not enough? Do you feel like it is enough? Do you feel like we should stop it? What do you think? The economy. What do you think?
Well, that's a good question. It's a really good question, and I'm happy I could address it because I'm a hardcore Democrat. I'm not a Democrat socialist like Bernie Sanders. That's why I voted for Joe Biden. I didn't vote for Bernie. Bernie's a great guy, but I did not believe in his policies. I don't think it would work. Look, right now Joe Biden is struggling to pass his COVID bill. That's mainly because of Congress are taking forever to vote for his bill. But I do believe in giving money in people's hands. I definitely do. But I also think there's a lot of cons coming to it. For example, like last year, I was unemployed for maybe 2 months. And I was receiving good money. I was I was receiving more than enough. I'm like, thank you. But I feel like a lot of people are getting spoiled. A lot of people are getting lazy. They want to rather stay on unemployment and not go back to work. Yeah, which is understandable. It's understandable, especially during a pandemic. People are comfortable going out to work. But I believe the government or the IRS, whoever is in control of it, should really find a new system and distribute the money in a different way. For example, like last year we were receiving the extra $600. Like, thank you, but I don't need. What was it, like $1,400 every 2 weeks or something? Yeah. Like $1,600 every 2 weeks. Like, thank you, but I don't need that money. Give some of it to a family that really needs it. Give it someone to a single parent who has like 2 or 3 kids, like my mom, was been doing for her whole life. For me, if I was receiving like $800 every 2 weeks, that's more than enough. But when I'm receiving $1,600, every 2 weeks, thank you. Last year
I wouldn't even want to take it.
Yeah, exactly. Like last year, also, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest, like everyone else. I did use it last year, and I used it a lot on great things. It got me, great things. It got me great trips. But that's how I would do it. I would really find a system, because that's the Republicans' argument. So they have a point sometimes. You know, Mitch McConnell last year when Donald Trump requested the extra $2,000, he said no because American people, they don't need that much. Yeah. And he kind of does have a point too. He kind of does. So that's why I feel like if there's a system, a bipartisan system where Democrats and Republicans would be in the same table, and then they could talk it out and, you know, get to a compromise. Because if you keep hearing $2,000 check from the Democrat side, Republicans are not going to want to deal with that. So that's why also I believe in a lot of bipartisan. That's what another thing about Joe Biden, that he's able to talk across the aisle and to talk to the far left, to the progressives. Yeah, you know, because we all need to get along. Like Joe Biden said, like, this isn't about blue states or red states. It's the United States. Exactly. You know, we're all on the same team. Yeah, it's not a competition. It's not baseball. We just saw yesterday
Ted Cruz and AOC agree on something. I was like, okay, like, is this real? Is this life? You know, it's funny. You know, do you ever see yourself going to politics? I know it's very controversial to say I love AOC, but I think what she stands for. Maybe not her policy. Not all her policies are good. Yeah. Maybe not all her thinking is good. But I think AOC is awesome. I like where she came from. A bartender. Yeah. Out the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? Comes out and say,
relate to that.
You know, and I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna go into politics. But you know, I have a little experience, but I have a voice. I'm gonna use my voice. Do you think? You know, will you ever go into politics yourself?
I've thought about it, to be honest, especially since the 2016 election, since when it was Hillary against Trump. Yeah. And I feel like I have a passion for it. You know, if you talk to me about it, I could talk for hours for it. I could talk hours. Of course. The only thing is that I have a bigger passion for something else, and that's business. So I feel like that's the only reason why I would enter politics. Yeah. And I remember, you know, also, I feel like also back then, one of my issues that I didn't get into politics was like, I don't want to really deal with the far left or on the Republican side. But now, since I'm older, I feel like, you know, I'm able to like communicate with everyone. So I feel like I would be very good at that, because that's what I believe in. Everyone needs to work together and get to a compromise. So now I don't think I would get into politics, but you never know in the future. Look at Donald Trump. He was a businessman, and look, it got him the presidency. Mm-hmm. So maybe in the future I will. But if I ever get into politics, you know, run for office, it doesn't necessarily need to be for president. You know, I could run for a Senate seat. I could run in the House. I could run for mayor. I could run for, you know, the Attorney General. I could run for a cabinet seat. I would do it, you know, but that's in the future, you know. But then again, if I ever comes to that point, I want to be knowledgeable of everything. You know, I want to know about foreign policy. I want to know about domestic policy. I want to know about my allies. I want to know about, you know, everything, the economy, you know, because like that's one thing about Trump. Like I feel like when he jumped into this, everything was just a show. He was pretending he knew everything, and you know, I don't want to give that to American people. I want them to trust in me. I want them to be confident with me. So if I ever get into politics, that's the only, you know, case I would make.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So speaking of business, I mean, we kind of touch over business a little bit and where you're gonna go, you know, and all the things you want to do, you know, with people and how you want to get back to the community. Mm-hmm. You know, I think of getting back to the community and business. I think of one corporation, which is your favorite corporation in the whole world, is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Hey, you know, I see so much in what they do. They give back, and they do these programs to get children active and playing and getting, you know, and teaching them very core skills that they need in the real world. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that's the reason why you love the Dodgers. You know, and have you ever, you know, do you see yourself, you know, working for them someday? What do you see with baseball?
I'll touch on everything. Besides loving the sport, before deciding to, you know, go on this business journey, I've always wanted to be a sports agent, or always wanted to enter the operations department of a sports team, because I love sports. You know, I love baseball. I love being around the sport. You know, ever since third grade, my teacher, he introduced me to the game of baseball, and I'm like, oh, what is this sport? And I loved it ever since then. And then I became a big Dodgers fan. And I think in fourth grade, I went to my first ever Dodgers game. It was pretty cool. A few memories I had with the Dodgers. You know, I went to my first World Series game 7 against the Houston Astros. It unfortunately didn't end our way, but I felt grateful, because I'm like, I never thought I would be at a World Series game, especially Game 7 of the World Series. You know, I've had great memories, bad memories with the Dodgers. I remember one bad memory, like I think it was 2016. They were facing the Mets and in the division series, and they lost. I remember I remember this so vividly. I was in my living room, and once the final out, the Dodgers lost, I just went straight to my room. I was like 9 p.m. and I knocked out, and I didn't wake up till next morning. I was so depressed and devastated, you know. But then thankfully, you know, came 2020 last year, and finally the Dodgers, you know, won the World Series. Like, people that know me, they know that this means a lot to me, because I'm a big sports fanatic. Every sports team that I watch, you know, that I root for, you know, I root for Real Madrid, you know, it's a soccer team. I root for the Lakers. I root for the Kings. I root for the Spanish and Portugal national soccer teams. Yeah. And they all have won. But the team that I die for, the team that I go for the most, hasn't won at all in my lifetime until last year. And for that, you know, that's why 2020 wasn't that so bad. You know, the Dodgers won. You know, it was a great time. And then, but besides loving the sport, you mentioned it, how the Dodgers does a lot of great things for inner city kids and for the community, and they do. I was fortunate enough to be a Dodger coach, which we were labeled ourselves Dodgers RBI champions, where we coach inner city kids who. Because, you know, like, especially from LA, you know, I'm from LA. I know all of LA, you know, places like Compton, places like Inglewood, places like Baldwin Hills Park. Yeah. There's a lot of kids out there that don't have the money to join a sport, don't have the money to buy a bat, don't have the money to buy a glove, don't have the money to buy a baseball. They are talented. Or something I could compare to, they don't have someone to... There's someone that taught them the sport. Like, I didn't have like a father figure or like an older brother who's teaching me the sport. I was fortunate to have a teacher to teach me the sport of baseball. So what's so great about the Dodgers Foundation, they would teach me how to like coach kids, but it's more than baseball, honestly. It's just teach them, you know, teach the next generations about your knowledge, about the love for the game, but not just the love for the game. What I love about the Dodgers Foundation, they've also focused on like giving kids opportunities to go to college, or giving them school supplies as well, giving them a field, giving them so much equipment. And I was so grateful for them. You know, I had a group of kids from 12 to 17. You know, Josh, you were my assistant coach for a few days.
I was there. I was in the midst.
And it was one of the best and most cherished accomplishments I've ever had. You know, we won the first game. You know, we finished, I think, third place in the league, and it was pretty cool. I would always do it again.
You made an impact.
Yeah, definitely. Once again, I'm just out here impacting people's life in a positive way.
I like that, bro. Yeah, I like that. You know, so, you know, one of your favorite, you know, your second favorite thing, you know, you love entertainment. You love watching baseball. You love watching your movies. You know, I know you're a big Marvel fanatic, and I think, you know, I'm just curious. You know, what do you see in a superhero? Like, what makes you, you know, invest so much in Marvel? You know, I've seen your movie collection. You showed off. You have all these movies. You have every single one. You know, like, what about that you just love? And did that influence you to work at AMC? Did that, like, you
know? With Marvel Studios, ever since 2008, like actually before that, I've always been a big superhero fan. You know, with the original Spider-Man movies, even the DC movies, the original the Dark Knight movies. But since 2008, when Iron Man came out, I remember as a little kid, I was watching TV. I think I was in my babysitter's place, and I was like, "Who's this Iron Man guy?" Because when you're growing up, you're known. You know Spider-Man, you know X-Men, you know the Hulk, but Iron Man, who the hell is Iron Man?
Yeah, I don't know him.
Yeah, and then when I went to the theaters and watched it in 2008, you know, I fell in love with the movie, and then thankfully the movie was a success, and then the rest is history. And what I love about Marvel Studios is that, I don't know, I just have that connection with them. Like, I'm part of them, you know?
You grew with them. We
exactly.
all started that.
Exactly. In 2008, what? I'm 20. I'm about to be 24. In 2008, I was like 9 years old, and I'm still here in love with Marvel Studios. Yeah. Like, you know, they're the reason why I had a great childhood. They're the reason why my teenage years were so great. Yeah. It's because of them.
Watch the movies and watch them.
And what I like about the creativity at Marvel Studios, especially Kevin Feige,
awesome guy.
Yeah, they focus on the craft. They focus on the quality of the
craftsmanship.
Exactly. They're not caring about the box office. They're not caring about how much money they're gonna make. You know, you gotta focus on the quality, and then everything else falls into place. Wow. And that's what I tell people. You know, you gotta like focus on what's important, and everything else will fall into place. And like with Marvel Studios, I love how they made this great connection. You know, and what I like about also what Kevin Feige said is that, which, you know, a lot of franchises weren't doing before, is that there is an end game. You know, the end game was, Iron Man died. People are not so used to that. People are so used to seeing all these happy endings. It was a happy ending Endgame. Everyone came back. Iron Man sacrificed his life to save
somebody else.
to save everyone else.
And he's an arrogant person. People associate him as selfish, but to me, it's the greatest trope. It's the fact that the character can finally develop into somebody that
exactly. And then these 10, 11 years, you saw all the growth of all the characters, and all the movies that was going on. That's what I like about it. It was a whole storyline. It's not one storyline. Everything connects with the
universe.
Exactly. That's what it's called, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's why with the TV shows, thankfully with Disney Plus, it's been a success. With with WandaVision, we just had a big plot twist last night. I'm not, no spoiler alert, but that's why I love it. What's so crazy, this is a fun fact, that we live such in a small world. So one of my old cross country teammates, his mom is the casting director for Marvel Studios, and I'm like, wow, dude, like because of her, not just the actors, but because of her, thank you for all my happiness, because Marvel has brought so much joy to me. And then once again, it's not just the actors and the actresses; it's the casting directors, the directors, the producers, the executive producers, the camera guys, everyone, and the fans. That's where I feel like we're a whole family. Like if I ever had the opportunity to talk to Kevin Feige or just anyone from Marvel Studios, I'll be so grateful. I'll be like, thank you for everything. I
would just say thank you. Yeah, you read my mind. I was just saying, dude, just a quick second. I remember you say Iron Man was your movie. I remember going to the movies. My friend Austin invited me to go see Avengers. And I'm in middle school, and I remember Iron Man's flying through New York. He's shooting those aliens down. I was right there as a kid. I was shooting my hands like this and mimicking Iron Man. I would never forget that moment because it gave me so much happiness. And the second moment that gave me happiness from Marvel was, I think, seeing Black Panther on that screen.
Oh, nice.
nice. It makes me sad that he's gone, but you don't understand. My mom cried in that when it ended, and he says, I forgot. Oh my gosh, what did not Chadwick Boseman, but what's his name?
Anthony Mackie?
No.
What's his name?
I can't think of his name right now. I can see his face.
Oh, Don Cheadle?
Creed. He's in Creed.
Oh, Creed. Yeah.
What's his name? What's his
actor's Michael B.
name?
Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan. He talks about how we're free, but we're really captive. We're still in bondage. He says something similar to that, and to see Marvel in a fake universe, in a fake world, tie the real struggles of a lot of African Americans and a lot of America, to see them tie that and connect it, made my mom cry.
Damn.
It was like they get it. Like somebody gets it, and they're pinning it in movies that anybody can understand.
Yeah.
And thank you, Kevin Feige. Yeah. Thank you, Chadwick Boseman. Thank you, Marvel, for that. I can't thank you enough for saying that. So I see why. So anyway, I wanna end it with this. I really want to talk about AMC, because AMC, to me, when I worked there, it gives me. It's not always a good job. I get it. It was a tough job, and it's at a movie theater in Hollywood. You wouldn't think it's tough, but it is. But what kept me there for 4 years is because my coworkers. I have never had a family life, and I call them a family because they treat you like a family. When you work, your coworkers do.
True. Yeah.
I saw a picture of you and your old coworkers, Mario.
Oh yeah,
and just like seeing y'all in the box office, like young Josh,
young skinny Josh,
young skinny Josh. What about AMC attracted to you, and what about the people that work there? Did they influence you in any way?
AMC was a great job. The reason why I got it, because I got laid off a job before. That was like 4 years ago in 2016. Yeah. So I needed a new job. And then thankfully 2 days later, AMC called me, and then I got the job.
Oh, there you go.
And a lot of great things have came out of AMC. Like for example, my pitch stub sales. I didn't know I could sell to people.
Oh, man. You guys are, this is not the death of a salesman. This is the birth of a salesman right here. You read the play. You are a birth of a salesman. I never seen anybody sell anything more in my life but you.
So, I'm thankful for AMC because I've learned so many traits like selling to people, being great customer service, and honestly, like our coworkers will ask me like, how do you do it, Josh? Like how do you sell so much, or how do you like never get any bad guests? I'm like, I just tell people, I just advise people like just treat them how you want to be treated. And when I'm working, you're getting me. You're not getting like another fake show of Josh. You're getting Josh, Josh Lopez,
corporate Josh.
You're
getting real. You're getting
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, this movie ain't that good, bro. Don't pay money for it.
And
might as well go to Netflix.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people like I remember Ricky, our old senior manager.
Yes.
He was telling everyone else
Yes.
that Josh, the reason why he sells so much stuff is he's passionate for the Stubbs card. He's and it's true. Like if people want to know about sales, is you got to be passionate for it. You can't have a dull attitude, or else the guests are gonna not think it's a great product. And but besides that, one thing I really miss about AMC is my regular guests, because like I would work there all the time. I would even make friends with those guests. And one couple that them, I forgot their names, but they're like black older couple. Tony.
Tony, I know Tony.
Yeah.
I forgot his wife. I know Tony. Yeah,
they're great people, and I miss them till this day.
I know them because they know Josh, and so when Josh is not at work, I'm at work, or he's at the bar, right? And so they'll be like, "Hey, Josh, where's Josh?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's upstairs tonight." Oh, I miss him, and that's how I know him now. Because of you.
No, but what I want to say, I think this is important to say, and it means a lot to me. So they'll always talk to me. They always talk about baseball. They'll ask me how's life. They'll ask me how my mom is doing. They're great people. But one day, I remember I was at the box office, and I was just working, mind my own business. They came in to get their tickets here and that, and they were walking out of the building. But Tony, right? That's the guy's name, Tony. Yeah. He comes up to me and he tells me this, Josh. He was like, Josh, I want you to really know this, because this means a lot to me. It's because of you, I went back to school. It's because of you, I went back to school.
He told you this?
Yeah, he told me that. Yeah, and I was speechless. I was surprised. I'm like, thank you. He's like, yeah, because of you, I went back to school, and I want to work my degree because you motivated me to do that. And that touched me so much. And that's what I exactly want to do in life. I want to impact people in a positive way. And then I did that without me even trying or having the knowledge, and if I could impact people in a positive way, and, that's a win for me, and until this day, it means a lot to me. And I hopefully, one day I see them again, because and it's funny because I actually got their number and I lost it. So like, I hope he's doing well right now. I hope he's out here, grinding it, and getting A's.
So it seems like more than people influencing you, you influence them.
Yeah.
In a very big way.
Yeah.
You use your gift.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I like about what I have in future. I feel like I was put in this planet to impact a lot of people in a positive way. And that's what I want to do. And I don't want to do it because of a good Samaritan, but in my heart, that's what I want to do. And I'm thankful I've done that already. And without me being, having the knowledge to do it.
Well, Josh, you have really shown yourself in the show.
It's a pleasure.
You brought me in tears twice. Congratulations. I've never seen anybody come on my show and really say the things that you said today. I'm very proud of you. I think that people watching, if anybody watches the entirety of this thing, they are extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
And you are a treasure. You are a treasure among your peers and in this world, and you should not accept anything less of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You trust me, and you've shown yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But anyway, any final thoughts? Because
just to give everything 100%. To be honest, to have faith in life, to be consistent, to be patient, especially, but definitely have faith. I've been reading a great book these past couple of months. It talks about faith, and you got to pour a lot of faith into something so something could happen. And you can't be materialistic. You just gotta have faith that things would turn out your way, but don't be materialistic. Don't have faith that you're gonna get that car. Be faithful that you're gonna be great in life. You're gonna be great in the future. But also, it comes with patience. That's what people don't understand. That you gotta be patient, and with everything, with money, with long-term investment, with even with training, with running, but at the end of the day, you also gotta be consistent. You gotta be consistent with yourself. And trust me, I've had issues where I didn't, where I wasn't consistent with all those three things I said. Faith, consistency, and what's the other one? Faith, consistency, and damn, I was talking about another one. Faith, consistency. Well, anyway, you guys know what I mean, but definitely just be consistent in life, have faith, and things will work out. And hopefully, this pandemic ends pretty soon, because I'm ready to.
I think we all think it will.
Yeah, I'm ready to go into a concert. I'm ready to have some drinks, and I'm ready to party. But yeah.
As you see, I am very. I thank God every day that I have friends like Josh Lopez in my life. And so, anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you, Josh, for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
For coming.
Thank you.
You don't understand how much it means.
Yeah, of course.
And,
of course.
I wish you all the success in the world. You know that. All right, guys. Thank you for watching.